Close your eyes for just a second. Try to remember the last time you heard a screen door slam shut behind you and you didn't think twice about it. The smell of cut grass mixing with charcoal smoke. The sound of a lawnmower 3 houses down. Kids calling each other's names across the yard. No phones, no texts, just your voice carrying through the warm evening air. If something just stirred inside you, then you already know exactly what this channel is about. This is the America we grew up in. This is the way it was. It's a Tuesday evening, June or July, somewhere in Middle America. It doesn't matter which state, you'll recognize it. The sun is maybe an hour from setting, and everything has gone golden. That specific kind of golden that only exists in summer. That color that your memory has been holding on to for decades. Sprinklers are going somewhere. You can hear them tick, tick, tick against the sidewalk. A transistor radio or maybe a boom box sitting on the porch railing is playing something from the top 40. Maybe Toto, maybe REO Speedwagon, maybe something you haven't thought about since 1986. This wasn't vacation. This wasn't a holiday. This was just Tuesday. And it was everything. Today, we're going back. Not to analyze it, not to compare it, just to remember what it felt like to live inside those summer evenings when time moved slower and the whole neighborhood was your world. You went outside after dinner, not because someone told you to, not because you had a plan. You just went. The bike was in the driveway, maybe a Huffy, maybe a Schwinn, and you rode until it got dark. No destination, just movement, just the sound of wheels on asphalt and wind in your face. The neighborhood had a rhythm in summer. Everybody's dad mowing the lawn, somebody's mom calling her kids in for supper, and somehow that sound traveled 4 houses down. The ice cream truck with its warped little melody growing louder, then fading, and the way your whole body reacted to that sound. And then dusk, that magical window between daylight and dark where the fireflies started. You'd cup one in your hands just for a second, feel it glow against your palms. Then you'd let it go. Nobody was tracking where you were. Nobody needed to. The deal was simple. Be home when the streetlights come on. And that rule, that single rule, gave you the entire world. You know what that world felt like. Endless, safe, yours. Summer had a smell. It still does, but back then it meant something. Charcoal starting up around 5 o'clock, that chemical sweet smell of lighter fluid, then the warm drift of something cooking. Hot dogs splitting open on the grill, hamburgers sizzling, somebody always burning theirs. The kitchen screen door let the sound out and the smell out too. Your mom at the counter making potato salad, the radio on, the fan going, dishes being done in the sink while the evening cooled down. And the drinks, Kool-Aid, that particular red that stained your upper lip, iced tea in a big plastic pitcher sweating on the picnic table, a can of Pepsi or RC Cola pulled from the cooler, so cold it hurt your teeth. The sound of the evening was its own kind of music. Crickets warming up, a game on the TV drifting through an open window, somebody 2 streets over laughing at something you couldn't hear, the occasional rumble of a car going past, but not many. People were home. Everything slowed down at dinner time. The whole neighborhood exhaled, and you just sat in it. People knew each other then, not in a greeting card way, in a real way. Your neighbors knew your name. They knew your parents' names. They'd tell your mom if they saw you doing something you weren't supposed to. The adults would drag lawn chairs into the driveway after dinner. Somebody'd bring out a beer, somebody else would come over, and they'd just talk for hours about nothing important, about everything that mattered. You'd ride your bike past, and they'd wave. Sometimes you'd stop and hover at the edge of the adult conversation, half interested, half just wanting to be near it, near that ease, that comfort, that sense that everything was okay because the grown-ups were laughing. Your friends were a pack. You didn't schedule play dates. You just showed up at each other's doors. You actually knocked, and asked if they could come out. And usually they could. There was a feeling in all of it that's hard to name now, a feeling that the street you lived on was a world in itself, that the people on it were your people, that you were part of something without having to try.
It's different now. We all know it. We don't have to argue about why or whose fault it is. We just notice it. The evenings are quieter now in a different way. Quieter because people are inside. Quieter because the screens went on. The driveways are empty. The porches are empty. The street is empty. There's nothing wrong with the life we have, but sometimes, when the light goes golden and the air gets warm, something pulls at you, some memory of a different kind of evening, and you feel it, that loss of something you can't quite name. Here's what I think we actually miss. It wasn't the decade. It wasn't the cars or the music or the Saturday morning cartoons. It was the feeling that time was infinite, that summer had no bottom, that tomorrow was going to be exactly like today, golden and warm and slow. We miss being small enough to fit inside a single evening. We miss the feeling of belonging to a place without working for it. We miss not knowing yet how fast it was all going to go. Those summer evenings weren't perfect. Life wasn't simpler. It was just that we were simpler. We hadn't learned yet to want more than what was right in front of us. And what was right in front of us was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. So I want to ask you something, and I actually want you to answer. What's the one thing from a summer evening back then that you can still feel, not just remember, feel? The temperature of the air, a specific song, a smell, a voice calling you home. Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and sometimes reading them, I realize that we all had the same summer, even if the houses were different and the streets had different names. If this took you somewhere today, somewhere good, then you're in the right place. This channel is called The Way America Was, and that's exactly what we do here. We go back. This was the way America was, and if you remember it, you lived it.